Hello everybody and welcome to lesson number 8 in our series on Byzantine chant. My name is Chris Koulougis and I am the protopsaltis at St. Demetrius Greek Orthodox Church in Seattle, Washington. Now remember, if you are looking for some private instruction, you can always contact me at the email link in the description of this video. Now let's go ahead and get started. So today we are going to talk about some new rhythmic symbols. The first one being the Sineches Elafron. The Sineches Elafron, basically what it is equivalent to, it looks like this, and it is equivalent to an iporoi with a gorgo on top. Now we learned about that character in our last lesson. Basically what it is two apostrophe with the first apostrophos having a gorgon on top. And just a really quick note about the words that we have on the Sineches Elafron. So there's never a new syllable on the first apostrophos, so the first step down. It is always going to be on the second step down here. Now that'll come more into play when we start chanting more things with words, but just for you to keep in mind from now would be good. Now let's look at an example of what this would sound like. So we're in Dísimos Rhythmos, starting on Ni. Ni, ni pa vu pa ni pa vu ga di ke ni ga vu ga di ga vu pa ni pa vu pa ni zo ni zo ni. So once again, this is like we have two apostrophe, the first one with a gorgon on top and the second one just one full beat. And remember what that gorgon does is it's going to make this first character half a beat along with the first step down of the Sineches Elafron one beat, which is why ni pa vu, if we're starting on vu here and we're going ready and vu pa ni, the first two are half beats and the second one is a full beat. Let's look at one more example here. So here we are in tetrasimos rhythmos, 4 rhythm, and we are starting on ni once again. Let's hear what this example would sound like. Ni, 1, 2, ready, and ni zo ke di ke zo ni pa ni pa vu ga di ke ni ni zo ke zo ke ni ke di ga vu pa di ga vu pa ni zo ni pa ni. And one more example here. Now remember from our last lesson, just like in our last example too, when we have the kendimata and the oligon on top of each other, we read the bottom first, and the gorgon always belongs to the kendimata. So here we're going to have the kendimata with a gorgon on top, and the gorgon affects the kendimata and the ison here, since we read from bottom to top. Now, a real quick note here is that we're going to see a klasma on top of the Sineches Elafron. So what that means is that the second step down of the Sineches Elafron is going to have a klasma on top of it. So remember, with the Sineches Elafron, we have two apostrophe. So the first one has the gorgon on it, and the second one is just a normal one beat apostrophos. But if we see a klasma on top, we're going to count an extra beat for that second apostrophos, so it's going to become 2 beats. So you'll hear what that sounds like when I do this example. So here's what it sounds like. Ni, 1, 2, ready, and Ni pa vu pa ni pa vu ga vu pa vuga diga vuga dike diga dike zoke dike zoni zoke zoni pani zoni pavo pani zoni pani zoke zoni zoke Nike zoke diga dike diga vuga diga vu pa vuga vu pa ni pa vu pa ni ni. And we end with that pavsi, one beat of rest. All right, let's look at something new here. So we've got the Digorgo, which is a new rhythmic symbol. So similar to the Gorgo, it's going to split a few different characters into smaller subdivisions of one beat. But instead of splitting them into two even parts of one beat, so cutting a beat in half, the Digorgo, which looks like this, cuts one beat into three different parts. So, for those of you who are familiar with Western music, it is basically a triplet. So, if we have something where we're doing two beats, 1, 2, 1, 2, ni, 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 ni. Here, we see that the Digorgo, it affects the character that it is on top of, the character that comes before it, and the character that comes after it. So, when we have this down, this first beat is going to be split into three different subdivisions that are even here. So if we got ni, two, ready, and ni, 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 ni. So as you can hear, three different subdivisions of one beat that are all even. So let's look at this in an example. So we've got ni in two decimos ritmos. Here's what it sounds like. Two, ready, and ni, 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 pa, 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 vu, 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 ga, 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 vu, 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 pa, 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 ni, 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 zo, ni. Let's look at one more example here. So just like with the Gorgo, if we have a kendimata and the oligon one on top of the other, the Digorgo will go always with the kendimata. So here we are going to affect the ison, the kendimata, and this oligon here, all with this Digorgo. So here's what this example would sound like. Ni, ni, pa, vu, ga, di, di, ke, ni, ga, vu, pa, ni, pa, vu, ga, di, ke, di, ga, vu, pa, ni, zo, ni. And remember, the Digorgo here, it affects the character that is before it, the character that it resides on, and the character that comes after it. So let's take a look at one more rhythmic character today called the Trigorgo. So we've got the Gorgo, the Digorgo, which is two Gorgo on top of each other, and now we have the Trigorgo, which is three Gorgo on top of each other. And what it does is not one, not two, not three, but four even parts of one beat. One quarter here, a quarter here, a quarter here, and a quarter here. So as you can see here, the Trigorgo affects the beat that it comes before, the character that comes before it, the character that it resides on, and the two following characters. And it divides that beat into four even parts, just like 4/16 notes would do to a quarter note in Western notation. So if we have down, up that we see here with the ison, ni, 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 if we see the Trigorgo here, we have all 4 of these ison in our down movement, in our first beat. So it would sound like this. Ready, and ni 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 1 2 3 4 1 ni 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 ni. So let's hear what this would sound like in an example. Starting on ni, we've got the Trigorgo here, so it's going to affect this ison, the ison that it's on, and the 2 ison that come right after. Sounds like this. Ni, 2, ready, and ni 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 ni, pa 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 pa, vu 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 vu, ga 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 ga, vu 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 vu, pa 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 pa, ni 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 ni, ni zo ni. And that's going to be it for today's lesson. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed the lesson and you're finding value in the series, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe to the channel so that you know when the new videos will be coming out. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.